never hurt nobody. Let herb be free on the earth, no daddy. Exercise your brain and work your body. Right beside the station, burning Cali. Give me the ice, great, it's the perfect treat. Light up in my brain street. Herbs for amigo, cannabis.
What's up, everybody? It's Torty here with another episode of the Herbalized podcast. Bringing us in was a short snippet from a great ganja tune by Chronix and Easer called A Perfect Tree. Links for that are in the episode notes. This episode is brought to you by the GANJA Supplies Company, our latest sponsor here at the Herbalized podcast. These guys are putting together a curated lifestyle supply box. So in at around $50 plus shipping each and every month, you get a curated box. So a piece of glass, some pipes, some papers, all the things you need to keep yourself well supplied at home. You don't have to dash out to the shops. You're going to be sorted. You even get a bag of lollies to take care of the munchies. So this month's box is already done and dusted. Check out the website ganjasuppliesco.bigcartel.com to see what they've got in store for you next month. Use the code word HERBALIZED when you're checking out and you will receive 10% off your next box, off your next purchase from the guys at the GANJA Supplies Company. They've armed us with a few extra boxes, so we're going to be doing some unboxings here through our YouTube channel. And we're also going to be doing some giveaways for our listeners as well. So if you didn't get your hands on the 420 Sesh Kit that came out this month, don't worry, there's still a chance for you to get your hands on one. There's going to be more information on that and our latest and greatest giveaway, our 710 to 1000 supporters giveaway on Instagram. So stay tuned at the end of the episode for more information on how you can get your hands on the 420 Sesh box. But make sure you check out the guys at GANJA Supplies Co. Use the code word HERBALIZED and get yourself 10% off your next purchase. So in this episode, we're back speaking with Matt Riley from the Free Cannabis Community. Matt got in touch with me, wanted to come back on and have a chat about a project that he's been working on. And also with the lead up to the 420 picnic, the official one this month, it was a good opportunity to catch up with Matt and check in with him since the last time. If there is anybody out there in the cannabis community, anybody in the community at all that wants to come on board and have a chat, drop me an email at herbalize420@gmail.com and we'll try and tee up a way that we can get you on a future episode. Apart from that, stay tuned at the end. We've got a few upcoming announcements. We've also got a big competition that we're getting ready to announce, so some details on that. We're back, and we've got Matt Riley here from the Free Cannabis Community. We are in the headquarters here, and Matt was our first guest to kick off the Herbalized podcast, and a lot has been happening in the meantime, in between time. So welcome back, Matt.
Thanks, Mike.
It's good to have you back. We sat down, we started talking, and already what you're talking about is interesting and important. So let's just rewind a little bit, and and we'll get back on the track that we were just on. So you started talking about basically the need for what you saw as the Free Cannabis Community and the community centre.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at. I guess 5 or so years ago, I figured out that we can't do illegal stuff. Okay, the way it's all set up is that if we try to push it forward by breaking the law, even though with the medical movement, for example, a lot of people are saying, okay, I'm breaking the law, but I'm doing it for this wonderful reason. Mm-hmm. Have compassion type thing.
Yeah.
And that works.
We've seen it work in places. Some powers that be in different parts of the world have let their police turn a blind eye to it. But yeah, it's always been a hot topical thing when we start looking at compassionate reasons for people to leave cannabis alone.
What pretty much ends up happening though is that in in all the main jurisdictions that the cannabis reform process is happening, is that medical growers or suppliers or whatever, there'll be busts and all sorts of stuff along the way, and.
I mean, like you were saying before, we've just seen in Canada the Emery clan and their
all the dispensaries
get shut down.
Yeah, well, they were selling for. I mean, they opened up business on kind of trying to force Trudeau to follow through with his promise of legalising. But it doesn't surprise me that they've all been busted and raided, and it's pretty atrocious the way they've gone about it. And from a cannabis activist perspective, it's terrible what they've done. Okay, but from the general public's perspective, and we've got to remember that 90% of the general public don't give a shit. So from the general public's perspective, they've made all these arrests, right? Now, without knowing anything at all about the situation, they're automatically going to be thinking, these people are obviously criminals. They wouldn't be arresting them if they weren't criminals, right? And it's put the perspective back a notch. This is why I've tried so hard and been successful so far. I'm a little bit nervous about April 20, but fingers crossed it'll all go well. But this is why I've put so much emphasis on having a respectful relationship with the police and avoiding having any arrests, because arrests are just going to make us look bad to those who know nothing about it.
Yeah, and was it the second cannabis-free picnic just gone, or the third?
The third we did January, February, March.
Yep.
And numbers have been down, which I understand. They were down a bit more than I hoped they would be, but...
So walk us through a little bit on what happened in the lead-up to the change towards... Because the movement started to gain a little bit of press, I guess too much press at the end of the day.
Yeah, well we had the Herald Sun come along and do an article, and tell the world that all the stoners are sitting in the park ripping bongs and having a good time, and that the police...
Which was what was happening.
And that the police were fine with it.
Yeah.
They didn't elaborate on the fact that we've been working on the relationship with the police for 5 years, and we've we've negotiated our way, and that
been incident free.
Yeah, they've been incident free. They're not getting complaints from the council because we're cleaning up really well. So of course the press just basically said, potheads bonging on in the park, and the cops are cool with it. Which is what the press does, and that's okay, I don't blame them. But then we got some pressure was sort of applied, there was some criticism of the police. A lot of it was, I just got a speeding fine for going 3 k's over the limit, and you're letting the stoners bong on in the park. So that was sort of that sort of level stuff, and I think there was probably a bit of pressure from some of the conservative politicians.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that led to cannabis free.
Well, in late November, early December, there was a story on the news, and the minister, Lisa Neville, I really hope that's right. I can't remember for sure. Anyway, the minister came out and said that she supported the police's decision to not act, and she stated that there's never been a problem. There's no selling going on. It's the event has never been a problem. So she basically said, look, the police are right in not acting. No, you could see she was pretty nervous while she was saying that, and sure enough, there was a bit of a backlash somewhere. I don't know the inside mechanics of it all, but on January the 1st, there was an article in the Herald Sun announcing that the police had decided they would now patrol the picnics and enforce the law. So we decided to do it cannabis free, and as a gesture of respect to police by saying thank you for being so decent up to this point.
Yep.
And two, because there's no point in getting anyone arrested. One, if anything, it's going to put a tarnish on the FCC movement so far, because we've been arrest free, which is important.
Yeah.
None of us deserve to be arrested, and we've conducted ourselves in a way that police agree and haven't arrested anyone. You know, so that's important. So yeah, with the whole situation in Canada, that doesn't surprise me. They're breaking the law. The law is going to be enforced. It's their way of stalling progress for as long as they can, slowing it all down. And so this moves us on to the community centre.
Yeah, cool. So we're looking at a computer screen here. We've got also in front of me, I can see, and congratulations, is your certificate of incorporation. So you're moving along in leaps and bounds in really establishing this thing and getting it moving, right?
Yeah, that's right. I've been well and truly buried in rules and regulations for the last 2 weeks, and I'm still in the middle of all of that. Working it all out, so we're setting it all up properly.
Yep. So walk us through the website a little bit and tell us a little bit about what you aim to achieve with the community centre. Okay.
Well, following along the lines of not breaking laws and forcing police to act.
Yep.
I recognise that we obviously can't be selling weed or setting up dispensaries or whatever. But I also sort of like to go with the philosophy that prohibition is actually about people, not about weed. Okay, and as activists, all we see are people who care passionately about weed and want to have arguments and this study versus that study and but at least we're not as bad as the ice heads, and all of that sort of stuff. But as far as the general public is concerned, they're not really that interested in all of the arguments, mostly. They may engage occasionally, but it's not at the forefront of their things they care about. So there's no point in trying to engage those people in an argument that they're not that interested in. I mean, that's going to create resentment for starters. So you're making it harder to make progress by the very. So what I thought, okay, what is prohibition? I mean, I've probably said this before. I tend to say it everywhere.
But it's worth being said again.
So prohibition is a policy based nothing more on prejudice, and it leads to discrimination, persecution, and oppression. So what I really wanted to happen, my goal really was, I mean, you ask any activists what they want, and they all say, we want to get it legalised.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't so fussed about the legalised part. Obviously, that's an important part of it. But what I really wanted to do was to overcome the effects of prohibition.
Yep.
So it's no point in legalising it if the prejudice maintains and stoners are still looked down on.
Yeah.
There's no point in legalising it if you've got to be sick to have access. There's because none of those things take away the stigma and the oppression and. So I thought, okay, hang on a minute. All the best singers and bands are stoners, right? All the most creative filmmakers, all of the culture that everyone celebrates, well, not all of it, but a vast chunk of it comes from the cannabis community, right? Okay, so let's kill a couple of birds with one stone, and let's showcase the amazing talent that lies within our own community, and put them up there with and get that out there so that society absorbs. Hey, there's a whole lot of good feeling coming out of that.
It's almost like a bit of a physical manifestation of what I'm trying to do with the podcast. By exposing the cannabis community as being not just Cheech and Chong from stoner movies of days gone by.
But by doing it focused on the music and art and creativity of the community.
Yeah, and staying local too.
That's it. But by doing it that way, I've lost that train of thought. That is good weed.
Well, no, you were talking about keeping it within the community.
Okay, by doing it that way, we appeal to the whole of society, because we're not putting the weed argument in their face. We're simply saying, hey, we're part of the culture that makes society so great, right? And okay, so on the one hand, we're presenting well, but more importantly, by creating a cultural hub where there's a whole bunch of people who are doing great stuff. It creates this fantastic uplifting energy, and not only will people enjoy the atmosphere with that sort of energy going on, but it'll lift them up and inspire them so that they, maybe there's a whole lot of fantastic artists there who just haven't overcome that hurdle of, bugger it, I'm going to give it a go. And so by bringing them in and encouraging that.
Paint a picture of what the space looks like in your dream of all dreams, where you walk in there and there's studios, there's workshops. I mean, give us an idea of what happens at the community centre.
Well, we're looking at some pretty big buildings around Collingwood.
So like old warehouses, something like that.
Yeah, and so it'd be a big space. Look, I don't know whether my picture's the same as everyone's, but you know what a YMCA is like with there's gyms and there's weight rooms and there's this and there's that and there's so I'm thinking something like that with well, for starters, there's a few main things that will appeal to the broadest number of people, and we'll start there. So we're looking at music. Okay, we all love music. So we'll have a live music venue.
Cool.
Okay, we'll have a place where any band in the community wants to put on a gig. Well, man, it's there. They can put on a gig. We'll have a place where all the members can come and see, a huge range of different artists. We'll also have a recording studio, and there's a few people who are working in that area now who I'm consulting with, and I'm going to basically get those guys to design it and help me make it a fantastic space, somewhere where they want to be.
Cool.
Is what I want them to design.
Excellent.
So that will create an enormous amount of talent and creativity that will just inspire the whole music community, and it'll help people thrive. It'll help more people have a go, try whatever. It'll improve the quality. It'll create a really great and through the success of individual artists within the community, the whole sort of community there'll be more focus on us, and there'll be more opportunity for people in the community. So that's an example of what I mean by overcoming the oppression.
Yeah, cool.
And overcoming the
So you've got
discrimination.
a live
We're
music
making it
venue.
an advantage.
And you've got a recording studio. Where'd we go from there?
Okay, glass art.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you know what it's like in the States. It's
sure.
huge, right?
Yeah, it's big here too. I mean, there's,
Well, it's certainly it's growing really rapidly. It was sort of non-existent 5 years ago, or very very underground 5 years ago, but now it's becoming huge.
Yeah, well, I was just saying to a friend before, like, around Australia through different biddings and auctionings, there's probably like a couple of grand being spent on glass, over the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
5 or 6 grand, but on any given night, it's pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, well, but I mean, we're talking about $1 billion industry in the States, so there's enormous potential for growth.
Yeah.
So what I want to do there is set up a glass blowing studio.
Yeah, cool.
With enough workspace that we can have classes there.
Yeah, cool.
Different artists can come in and do workshops or whatever, and because of the way that the community centre is all structured, we'll be able to make it very cheap for members.
Yep.
So we're going to make that sort of stuff accessible to
excellent.
to everyone.
So it's a public space, but there's you can join a member base, and that entitles you to discounts.
Well, it's a members. I mean, you got to be a member to come in.
Okay,
so it's a members
only space.
Yeah, kind of like a gym. It's a really cheap membership.
But then, if you have like a gig on, obviously it's opened up then for the general public.
Well, the way we'll do that is we'll have a weekly membership that's available.
Yeah.
So if you want to come to a gig, you just pay for 1 week's membership,
cool.
and then you pay.
Same if there's like you include it in the ticket, or if there's a glass blowing workshop on, or whatever the case is.
And the idea, they're coming into the centre for that one gig, but then they've got a week to come and check out the other stuff that's going on.
They get exposed to it.
Yeah, and hopefully, some of those weekly members will turn into permanent members.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. You should check out, I don't even know if you can type it in, my friend has a thing, it's called the World Beat Center. It's in Balboa Park in San Diego.
Okay.
You might want to check out. They do a lot of community-based stuff. I mean, it's mostly a music venue and a food venue. They do a lot of food out of there as well, and they have a community garden there too. But yeah, it's a maybe a cool model you can have a look at.
Well, the community garden, we'll have the same thing. We'll have a large area of grow displays featuring all the latest hydroponic gear, through to organic soil beds. And of course we can't grow weed, because we're not going to cross that line and force the police to act. But we will grow all sorts of foods.
Yeah, cool.
We can have.
So then, will there be a place to buy the food that's grown?
Yeah, we'll serve that up in the cafe. So
cool.
We'll grow our own tomatoes and cucumbers and whatever we're using in the cafe. We'll serve it all up, and that's setting an example of grow your own and encouraging those skills and that's the best way to get the quality up.
And so the membership base would be how you funded paying for rent and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yep.
And initially, do you need to have you got a fundraising project or anything like that in the
We're
works?
in the process of designing and building that.
Yep.
Hopefully that'll be all prepared and ready in the next few months.
Yeah, cool.
And then we'll launch and get going.
Well, I'll be sure to update everybody on that, or maybe we'll come and have another chat when that launch goes to air. That'd be cool.
Yep.
So it's
we've got some great. Look, I just want to point out we've got some great.
And the website is Melbourne Free Cannabis Community.
No, that's not published yet.
All right.
This is just one of those play with, build it yourself ones.
All right, cool. So,
and as soon as I'm happy with this, I'll pass it on to someone who knows how to make them look good.
Yeah, all right. I'm getting the inside scoop on what the website's going to look like here. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so give me a squeeze.
Okay, so we've got some great artists in here. Swift Boy, I don't know if you've heard her. She's really pretty good.
Yep, cool.
Junior, you know Junior?
Yep, I definitely know Adrian Eagle.
Adrian Eagle.
Yep.
Ivan Ooze.
Yep.
Karate
So it's a bit of a showcase
Boogaloo.
of some of the artists that make up the musical artists that make up the cannabis community.
That's
here in
right.
Melbourne.
And all of these guys who are on the page who you're seeing here, all of them are really keen on the idea. They love the whole concept of the project. So when we've got our music venue, they'll all be doing gigs there.
Excellent.
And they've all, a lot of these guys have got a big following themselves. So that will bring in a diverse range of people into it.
Yeah. And then I guess when you've got that space, you can, beyond glass blowing workshop, you can run musical workshops as well.
Yeah,
if you've got all these talented people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea, to really get a thriving little hub of music happening where everyone's bouncing off each other and people are throwing out, bringing out some amazing stuff.
It's an amazing idea, man. And I really, my hat goes off to you because, like I said, it's you're kind of physicalizing what I'm trying to do with my podcast. And for my podcast, I just need a microphone and a computer and people to sit down with. You got a much bigger job than me.
The community centre is a perfect example, though, of in that space. You tell us what you need.
Yeah, look, if you're going to have a recording space there, I'll be able to use it in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely,
sure. Yeah.
But that's a perfect example of what the community centre is for.
Yeah,
it's not about promoting cannabis.
Yeah.
It's not about telling everyone out there, hey, you should all be smoking weed instead of drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. People can make up their minds for themselves, right? But it is about enabling the people in that community who are oppressed and discriminated against.
Well,
it's about countering that and overcoming that.
I really appreciate it. As long as there's a bit of space for some jiu-jitsu mats somewhere in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, look, we might have a gym room there which can be utilised. And ultimately, I'd like to see it 24/7.
Yep.
So if there's a dozen people who want to do jiu-jitsu at 4 o'clock in the morning, sweet, or whatever. It'll all be based on if one person wants something and no one else is interested, well, maybe we can't do that.
Yeah, but, cool. Yeah, well, it's like like when we grew up, the actual community centre that kind of every suburb had, that was, you could rent it for a couple and hire it, but it's going to be specific to this group of the community, but with open doors as well for anybody to come in and embrace it. And part of it.
The only
you
real
don't need to smoke cannabis to join
not
to
at
be
all.
a member. Yeah.
The only real qualification you need to be a member is that you support the purpose of the centre and.
So there, obviously information booths and things like that will be there with lots of information on cannabis and things like that as well.
Look, probably not. We won't.
Is that getting touchy on the side of crossing lines?
There are fine lines in the legislation. You're
That's
not allowed
such a
to.
shame.
For example, you're not allowed to tell anyone. To teach people how to grow cannabis.
No, well, even how to use it responsibly? No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So anyway, basically the community centre is not going to be about cannabis. As far as cannabis is concerned, it's kind of going to be the same as everywhere else in society. Yeah. But it's about supporting, all the other aspects of people in the community, of their lives. So just for an example, this building isn't available, but it's a really lovely building. It'd be lovely if it was available. But there's a lot of great buildings. In Collingwood.
Those old school. It's a cool area too. It's a good central location, and it's a really great idea.
And plenty of space in there to do all the things we want.
Yep.
And of course, food. Everyone needs to eat, and part of nurturing. And
so, if you had a cafe, would that be open to the public, or would that be a members only?
All members only.
Fronted? Right.
Yeah, no, just
Cool.
it'd be members only.
Yeah.
And it's basically what I'm.
And then it's a non-profit idea
Mhm.
as well. So all the profits go back into the community and.
Yep.
At
Well,
end
the
of
cafe
day-
would be really cheap
Yep.
because the members are all paying the rent
Yep.
already.
But if you
okay?
get to the
So
dream day where it's turning a profit, and that just goes back into buying cool stuff, or
yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
I've run all the
Could-
figures. That'll be.
Can you see it
fairly.
politicizing in the future at all, and perhaps?
Yeah, possibly,
Yeah.
possibly, but that's what I guess what the FCC is all about. What Melbourne Free Cannabis Community is all about is providing resources for people within the community.
Yeah.
So we're not pushing any particular,
Agenda.
I do like treat Bud like beer, so I'll probably
Yeah.
throw that in a little bit.
For sure.
But it's not, it's not necessarily going to be like we're not going to have a political policy as such.
Yeah.
However, if there are groups in the community who want to get together and do have a political campaign,
It's a
we
place to
will
base,
provide
yeah.
them. We'll provide a place where they can have meeting rooms,
Yeah.
so they can get together and organise themselves.
Yeah.
We'll set up whatever they need.
Yeah.
Within reason
Mhm.
to enable them to get
Yeah.
to do everything properly.
Yeah.
And plus, because we'll have a whole community of people who
Yeah.
are wanting to help to get, it basically gives everyone in the community access to a
Yeah.
whole lot of resources
Yeah,
rather
for
than
sure.
just their networks,
And is the idea long term to sort of take it into other cities? And have
Look,
a
I'm
network
happy.
of-
Me personally, I think I've sort of thought about having it all over the place, and the idea that I'm most comfortable with is we'll do Melbourne
Yeah.
and Victoria,
Yeah.
and we'll let other people copy us. We'll
Yeah.
we'll,
It's the
we'll try and
imitation is the
encourage
best
them
form of
to.
flattery, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but we'll try and encourage them to get the attitude right.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the psychological,
Yeah.
effects.
And look, every city has its own different set of prejudices to overcome as well. There are the
Sure.
general ones, but there are the Melbourne ones, and there are the Sydney ones as well. So
Yeah.
it changes from town to town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think there's been I've noticed a change over the last 5 years in
Yeah.
Melbourne, and I think the rallies and picnics have.
Did you start in April? Was that your first one? Was it an actual 420?
No, the first one was in October, November,
Yep.
2010.
Yep.
It was the eve of the Victorian state election.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
And Fiona Patton came along and spoke, and I was
Yeah.
too nervous to speak. I just wouldn't. Anyway, that was the one where I lit the joint, and all the news cameras got on me, and I freaked out completely. But anyway, that was my christening.
And so now, fast forward, 5, 6, 7 years, and we're coming up to the 420 picnic, the one to cap it off. How are you feeling about it? Cannabis free. It's the big one.
Well, look, I'm not saying cannabis free for this one.
Yeah.
It's 420. People want to come and smoke.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping is that police don't come in hardcore.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that people are also sensible and respectful enough to not light up in the cops' faces.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably don't need a dab 10.
Yeah, exactly. We
Yeah.
need to not smoke. Not
Keep it subtle.
Yeah.
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 Not antagonise the
Yeah,
police.
for sure.
And the police really don't want to arrest us.
For sure. Yeah.
But that's
There's
their
only so
job.
far they can
That's
go
right.
to.
But, I mean, they've got to follow their directions,
Yeah.
and they've been directed in such a way. So
Yeah. Well, let's hope we can maintain that relationship that we've had so far with them, and everybody can keep it respectful.
Well, they have been really good. The last three cannabis free ones.
I managed to make it to the January one, and it was. I mean, that was the first one after the big announcement and stuff. So it was very, very low key. Yeah. Yeah. So.
And they left us alone pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the last one. I probably shouldn't say this, I don't know. Anyway, the sergeant came up to me and said, right, we're going now.
Yeah.
But if anyone rings up the station and says there's people smoking dope, we're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now we'll park over there and we'll walk over slowly. Just make sure nothing's going on, you know.
Yeah.
And essentially they were really, really good about it. Yeah.
Well, I think that's kudos to you and to everybody that's been a part of it up until this date in keeping it.
But we also kept it really low key to make sure there were no complaints, you know. So it's a matter of showing respect, basically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to finish it off with? I know you've got some plans for getting the fundraiser kicked off. And really starting to shine some light on the project. So I'll keep everybody updated with that as it comes along. But yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. If anybody is out there and listening and wants to get in touch with Matt, the best way to do that is?
Free Cannabis Community at outlook.com.
There you go. I'll put it all in the notes for the episode as well. Matt's super active across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. So make sure you check out all of his associated accounts. But until next time.
Yeah, website will be coming out.
Website will
soon.
come in. Yeah. I can't tell you what I've got. That's the inside scoop. But yeah, it looks good, and I look forward to seeing it fire up. And once the cannabis community is up and kicking, it's definitely got the Herbalized full support for what that means. And we look forward to speaking to you when we get even closer still.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Matt.
Cheers, Michael.
So there you have it. That was our catch up with Matt Riley and all things happening for the FCC. It's really amazing to see Matt going from strength to strength, and we wish him every success in the upcoming endeavors. Make sure you check out the episode notes on all the ways you can get in touch with Matt and show your support for the Free Cannabis Community Centre. So upcoming here, there's a few things going on. What we have recorded recently, we caught up with Beanie Man, legendary king of the dance hall out of Jamaica, was here in Melbourne doing some concerts. It was another short and sweet one, but we'll release that one shortly. On that, I know I've had a few short and sweet ones lately. What do you think of those? Are you enjoying them? Let me know. Steve Maxwell is still coming up. I'll release that soon. That was a longer chat. That was great. This week, hoping to sit down with the guys from Crave Vapes. They've just released their first dry herb vaporizer. They're based here in Melbourne. I've had the opportunity to test the vaporizer out. It's a really solid unit at the price point the guys are asking for. It's definitely something I would be confident to tell you guys to go out and try. You can check those guys through our episode notes. The website is all there. Just after the long weekend, Easter's coming up, I've organised to sit down with Helen Coppolis as well. Her film, A Life of Its Own, The Truth About Medical Marijuana, just recently aired on SBS, Sunday night just gone. So it'll be great to finally catch up with Helen and talk about her film, talk about the experience of making it, the hype that she's had leading up to the release, and what she plans to do from here on forward. As I said at the start of the show, we've also got a big competition about to be launched over our social media pages. So it's going to be our 710 to 1,000 followers over our Instagram. Putting together a really awesome prize pack for this. I've got a bunch of awesome slaps, I got a special limited edition Blaze pin. We've got some dab mats. We've got a extractor blast tube, some silicone containers, some glass stuff made by some local Australian glass blowers. So more and more stuff is being added to that pack as the days unfold. It's definitely going to be worth checking out. Make sure you're tuned into all of our different social media pages to get all the upcoming information on that. I'm going to drop that by the end of this week. On social media, look, it'd be great to see some more followers getting on board through our Facebook, through our Twitter, and of course through the Instagram as well. Anytime you can rate and share the episodes through SoundCloud, through iTunes, it just really helps me out. It helps us out in a big way to get more and more people out there exposed to the Herbalized podcast. Apart from that, it's time for the Herbalized THC shout-outs, the Herbalized crew. Again, big thank you to our sponsors, the GANJA Supplies Company. Make sure you get over and check out the website, ganjasuppliesco.bigcartel.com. Use the code word HERBALIZED when you're checking out and receive 10% off your next month's box. Those guys have been amazing in coming on board. Stay tuned for some unboxings and some free giveaways of their boxes as well. Of course, as always, our supporters, Jesse I from Chant Down Sound and the Higher Level Record Shack, Top Ranking Sound, the Repress Specialists, Muzzle Tov, congratulations, my friend. Big news from him on the other side of the world. To the fam at Leverage Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Thomastown. Got to big up those guys for iron sharpens iron, you know. We make each other tough. Lots of love. Blaze Australia, my friend. The podcast, another great Australian cannabis podcast that is out there. Also, large up to the Dysfunctional Glass fam. Nick runs an amazing service. We've been killing it here at the Herbalized podcast. We've cleaned up on a few of the raffles that he runs, or the glaffles, I should say, over on his Facebook page. All the details for all of our supporters and sponsors can be found in the episode notes for our podcast. So make sure you check that out. Finally, to the dream team, the Smoke Dreams at Melbourne City. If you guys live in Melbourne, if you need any smoking accessories, oil pourers, wink wink, nudge nudge, vapes, papers, dry herb vapes, we have got the lot down there at Smoke Dreams. So make sure you come in and see us. Apart from that, it's time to check out. It's time to say goodbye. Stay herbalized.
Rock me nice and easy, rock me nice and slow. In the early morning, you turn me on, so let the good times roll. Said them try to separate me no wanna crack for smoke. Give me the ital in my brain, and let it light up in my dome. And I'm me alone, one steam in the sensei every time. And I'm me alone, one burning every time. Oh, I said, give me the highest grade. I beg you, oh, it's the perfect tree. Let it light up in my brain. My brother was strictly earth for me. No, mama, we won't know. It's the perfect tree. No, mama, we won't know. Strictly earth for me. No spliff, no bill up. At the ital steamers and a chill up. This will make a second and cease and a fi sit down. Up on the cold concrete, you a feel it down. Ease out. As a beginner man start, just a sip up and cough and a grin up and laugh. Steam chalice and a joking and a smoking, we promoting the lungs them free of all charges. But we have to big up all smokers, same way we're smoking chicken cannabis, no smoke, no crave, nay. Now take no crap for we brain crash landing. Mayday, mayday, when my purple haze there. I'm a organic, no high grade, what kind of touch are this? You know see the whole world demand chronic. Office supply, so we planting it. High grade never hurt nobody. Let herb be free on the earth, no daddy. Exercise your brain and work your body. Right beside the station, burning Cali. Give me the highest grade. It's the perfect tree. Light up in my brain.
this. And if you're not the money, then you can't get none of this. One jaw from me spliff it up, me head touch just a lift. And the chalice italic, and italic. I feel run to get a sip, and me say quick. Not a bad bitch, just a whiff. Half of the sweet and so what if and a 10 and a half. A up a brave, that's where we at. Blazing blades, all when the sun blazing hot. Make a shimaya, big up the ganja farm, a plant the marijuana. Keep my nerves, them calm, a breeze, a blow and rain, a job. Make a need my dough, make a need I job, fi stay relax. And a T-tato, and a fee-5-4 fi get me props. When we are hunt it, link up scary frost. And we no scared and no male nor no lady cops. Roll the rhythm like a Rizla, then blaze the truck, boy. Same so we blaze the truck.
Come make a blaze up the track like sativa. Make a blaze up the track like sativa. Run go to East and send go call Isa. McGregor Gully Rock and come in here with 100% of cheese sweets and similia. We don't need no Rizla fi light up with steamer. Grandma ask how my herb smells so sweet. Cause she not smell no smoke, just the scent of the greens. You chastise the herb then repent of your sins. You chastise the herb then repent of your sins. Father God I go give you a beating. For all the ones that you lock up in a prison. Oh, lock them up for no reason. Still be planting herb for all season. Autumn, winter, summer, spring. I'm in a Johnny bag of long talking. But I'm often put back on it and we ride the rhythm. Grab up the microphone and me say what a same thing. Enough say them a rap but Jaja no say man a sing. Enough say them a prince but Jaja no say man a king. Teflon a veteran in a the marijuana thing. Them and they have the carpet, we call him Aladdin. Float down in the sky and no crash landing. But I'm often put back on it man no crash landing. Pass me herb a different something. Give me my chalice a different song. East. Yeah. I never know this strictly herbs, you know. Holistically. Herb for food, herb for thought. Herb for meditation, herb for medication. East. Yeah. For what is a tree without roots? That's why we say roots and chalice, you know. Cause the chalice is what? Open your eyes so you can discover your roots. Peace.